What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 4 of our Bayer Leverkusen Let's Play here in Football Manager 2019. Hopefully, you guys are good. Today, massive game for us. We're going to be taking on Hoffenheim. It's a battle between two teams occupying currently Champions League spots. Of course, the tricky fixtures have been coming thick and fast for us this season, and well, this is no exception today against Hoffenheim. Since you were last here, we have actually played quite a few games. If we just have a look at the calendar here, you can see it's been a mixed bag since the last episode, which of course was the Dortmund game with a real sucker punch to end it with their late goal. Since then, we have played, as you can see here, 6 matches across a variety of competitions. The first game we had was against PSV, and that was of course in the Europa League. This game itself, kind of an interesting one. A real ding-dong affair. Hervé Lozano's deflected shot broke the deadlock initially. From there, though, the game was kind of opened up. Alario scored in the 13th minute through a defensive mistake. And well, for a long period in this game, it looked like we weren't going to get anything from it. We made a few changes. We brought in Julian Brand, and well, he made a difference. Coming on in the 86th minute, grabbing 2 goals in 2 minutes during added time in the 93rd and 94th minute. And ultimately, we ran out deserved victors, and with that result, we got our second win in a row in the Europa League. The next game we had was against Freiburg, and as you can see here, it was away from home, and it finished 2-2. However, that really doesn't tell half the story. It wasn't until the 70th minute that the first goal was scored in this game. Polino on off the bench to get it. Of course, great to see another substitute that we did having an impact in the game. This time it's Polino. Kevin Volland doubled our lead in the 85th minute, and I'll be honest, at that point I thought we were home and dry. I thought, right, job done, comfortable, game over, but no. 2 goals, both in the 93rd minute. It was the biggest of sucker punches, this. They pulled it back. A calamitous error, I guess, on the last goal by Trocao. Again, it kind of came down to the fact that this game we did rotate the team quite a lot. You can see, looking at the starting 11 here, there was certainly some rotation needed, and that is largely down to the fixtures. If we just take a look back at the calendar, you can just see here, the games have just been so frequent with not a lot of respite in between leading up to this Freiburg game. Following this, we did have an international break, which was a bit of a blessing, and following on from that, we took on Hanover, where we won 2-1. A game that we dominated. They did score their only shot on target in the game, but you can see here Julian Brandt getting a goal, kind of continuing his goal-scoring form, which he has found as of late. And to be honest, he's been superb for us. One of a few players who, since the last episode, has signed a new contract, which is great to see. Brandt had 3 years left on his current deal. He's now signed a 2 additional year extension. It's a 5-year contract. The contract itself, if we just look at it, is largely unchanged from what it was before. The only difference is it does now have a yearly wage rise, which, whilst it is going to add up over time, it's still going to keep his wages relatively low for the kind of player he is. 2 other players, as I mentioned, did sign new contracts. We'll talk about them quickly. The first of which was Vendel, of course, our left back, who is currently out injured. We have had a fair few injuries as of late, but yes, Vendel signing a new contract, a 5-year contract. Very, very happy for him. Going to have him locked down for his glory years. And the other player, perhaps the biggest contract signing we've had so far, Kai Havertz, has extended his contract at the club. It's a 5-year contract, which in itself would be great, but it also features a optional contract extension clause of 3 years. So it's a theoretically 8-year-long contract, and he's only on £48,000 a week, which is just absolutely superb. You know, tying him into a super long-term contract before he develops, perhaps gets a bit of an ego and starts demanding a whole lot of cash. So yes, that was very, very pleasing. I mentioned the injuries. Vendel is out with an injury. We'll talk about the game that occurred in just a second. A few other injuries. Almiron, I forgot to mention this, of course, he got injured during the last live com. I did show it at the end of the episode, but I didn't acknowledge it in the voice commentary. Out for 3 months with a torn calf muscle. Still a long road to recovery for him. Weiser, of course, still out, and Bellarabi out for today's game. A short-term injury, a twisted knee, so not too much to worry about there. Anyway, going back to the games that we've had, you can see after that Hanover game, which we won 2-1, the first game against Rosenborg, obviously normally I'd show you the highlights at this point, but this game finished 0-0. Honestly, not entirely sure how it finished 0-0. You can see here, we were by far and away the better team in this game. They didn't have a single shot through the entire game. I wish I could explain what happened, but I can't. We just couldn't find a way through, and it is our first points dropped in the Europa League. The next game we had our most recent Bundesliga game. It was away from home against Werder Bremen, a game that we lost, not so much deservedly so. One thing I should have mentioned is in the game against Freiburg, where they did score the 2 late goals, as much as it was a sucker punch, they deserve to win. They created so much more than us throughout the game. Similarly here, Werder Bremen, they took the chances that came their way. They played defensively superbly. You can see they played 5 at the back, and their back 5 was just very, very strong. Our team was very tired as well, which definitely played against us. You can see here, Julian Brandt on a 6.0 rating, Volland on a 6.2. A very, very disappointing display. Anyway, our most recent game in the German Cup finished 4-3. I will attempt to show all the goals, although I might have to kind of cut a few out. But Wirtz opened up the goal scoring in this game for Darmstadt. You can see here it was an absolute screamer. Following on from that, Leon Bailey pegged them back. They scored 2 goals to go in at half-time, 3-1 up. 2 additional second-half goals for Leon Bailey to secure him a hat-trick. Took us to extra time, and Julian Brandt on off the bench got a crucial goal in this game. A bit of redemption perhaps after that disappointing performance in the previous game. Really should have been performing better in this match. We did rotate the team extremely heavily. Also gave a debut to Tonali, of course, at £10 million. We've spent big on the Italian. I'm hoping for big things from him. He looked pretty influential in this game, to be honest. A 7.3 rating for him. Not too bad at all. Ultimately, though, against a team in the division below us in the German Cup, I really want to be avoiding extra time. And as a result of this kind of conditioning, I did have to rest a lot of our players. And it was kind of fortunate in a way that I did rotate our side, because you can see this game against Hoffenheim only occurring 3 days later. So in terms of other team news, just a little thing, I guess. I've had a few players kicking up a fuss about lack of first-team football. The first player, Polino, you can see here, we've promised him that he's going to play more football. I feel like he's played a decent amount for us. Maybe he can make a few more appearances in the league, but I don't feel like his kind of complaints are necessarily justified, but he is just such a good player for us that I can't afford for him to be unhappy. He's the kind of player who I want to have at the club for the foreseeable future. In terms of the other players kicking up a fuss, one of them was Lucas Alario. I don't know what to make of this, really. Again, a player who I feel like is getting more than enough first-team football. Has played all 3 of our Europa League games so far, 4 appearances in the Bundesliga, 2 German Cup games, but apparently that is not enough for him. I'm going to try and keep him happy, but Tottenham interested. If they came in with a good offer in January, I might be tempted to sell up, but obviously I can't really talk about those hypotheticals just yet. The other player who did kick up a fuss was Koa here, who I don't know what to do, to be honest. He's kicked up a fuss about lack of first-team football. I feel like he's played enough football for his rotation role, but he disagrees, and I can't really find more of a spot for him in the team, which is somewhat problematic, I guess. So I've got to just hope he shuts up or puts up, really. If worst comes to worst, we might have to offload him in January. I'd really like to avoid that, because I feel like he is the long-term successor to Lars Bender in the defensive midfielder role. And really, these 2 guys just very, very kind of good for each other in terms of pushing each other that little bit further. But yeah, Koa, been complaining a lot. A little bit of a tricky one, a bit of a balancing act, player morale. You kind of look at the appearances across the team. We have shared it out pretty evenly across our side, so it is a little bit frustrating to have these complaints. But we'll do our best, I guess, to wrestle through it and see how we get on. In terms of how all those results kind of shape us up, of course, points dropped in the league consistently, unfortunately, that defeat. And, of course, the draw have seen us now slip down to 3rd place behind Leipzig, who are top behind Bayern. Only 1 point in it, I should add. Today's game against Hoffenheim, they're only 1 point behind us. So they're a very, very good team. You can see Dortmund perhaps a little bit surprisingly off the pace at the moment, down on 16 points. Lewandowski and Yusuf Poulsen, top goal scorers in terms of average ratings. You can see here Vendel right up there, which is great for him, the left-back. Unfortunately, of course, he is out with this calf strain for a couple of weeks, which is a bit of an issue for us, because we only really have Miguel Traucao, who we signed in the summer as an initial backup. Jedvai could obviously come in there as a last resort, but he's certainly not naturally that kind of left-back option for us. But obviously, combined with the Weiser injury, the fullback position is just a little bit of a cause for concern at the moment. If we get any more injuries, I'll be really panicking. At the moment, it's just kind of something to be aware of, I guess. So anyway, let's get into today's game against Hoffenheim. But before we do, I will just quickly show you the Europa League. We're looking pretty good. Despite the draw against Rosenborg, PSV and Malmo drew against each other. It puts us in pole position still to get out of this group stage at the halfway point. So pretty happy with how things are going there. And we've got Regensburg in the German Cup, which isn't now until February. But yeah, worth being aware. We are in that 3rd round. So that's good progress there, I guess, despite the fact we did go to extra time previously. Anyway, at home against Hoffenheim, I'm going to be a little bit respectful, I think, to them here. And that is that I am going to play with a defensive midfielder. Obviously, we've been interchanging between this system and our 4-2-3-1 kind of slightly more offensive option. But this is what we're going to stick with, I think. In terms of the team, a little bit of rotation required just due to fitness concerns. Yeah, the games are catching up with players, I guess, is a problem for us right now. Fredesky's going to stay in goal. Miguel Trocao going to come in at left back. Out on the right, we're going to go with Jedvaj, Sven Bender and Ta. Obviously, our usual suspects in the centre-back positions. Centre defensive mid, Lars Bender as well. Obviously, these positions you don't need to rotate so much because players aren't so mobile. Aranguiz has also mentioned some concerns about lack of first-team football, although it's not become a big problem yet. We're going to be giving him football because he's a very, very good player for us. And really, the reason he's not played more has simply been keeping him fit, keeping him rotated. His international football has meant he really hasn't had a rest since the start of the season. Havertz, of course, on his new contract, going to play that advanced playmaker role. With Almiron out injured, he is really the lone ranger who can play this role for us. Higher up the pitch, we're going to go with Julian Brandt out on the left, Polino out on the right, and Volland playing up top on the bench. We've got options, but you can see here players struggling with fitness. Lucas Romero, Falk and Leon Bailey, all kind of players who ideally I'd not like to play if I can avoid it, but we'll see how this game plans out. It's going to be against Hoffenheim. Just a little bit of a heads up here. I might experiment with cutting out some of the what's the word? The non-important highlights in this game. I talked about it a couple of episodes ago about the fact that in Football Manager this year the matches take a little bit longer, perhaps a little bit too long for videos. So I'm going to experiment perhaps with cutting bits and pieces out where I can. Naturally, however, my rambly commentary style doesn't lend itself so well to being cut down too brutally. So we'll see how it goes. If you notice any weird cuts, obviously I apologise. I'm doing my best to cut around my horrific talking. I will also say, let me know what you think of the editing. I'm probably not going to go too crazy with it just yet this episode, but maybe it's something we'll continue to experiment with. Of course, this is my beta save. It's kind of been a bit of a return to YouTube as of late. And so I'm still kind of finding my feet, trying to, polish up our content and work out exactly how I want to do things this year. 2 minutes gone. Can we create something here? Jedvaj to Havertz, making this run inside. Arriguez. Oh my God. Aranguiz, Jack. Who's Arriguez? Answers on a postcard. I think that might be the first answers of a postcard of this series. It's a catchphrase. Feel free to keep count on postcards for the series. But yeah, Havertz with the assist. And Aranguiz, I mean, what an effort that is. First time, bang. Pick that out, Baumann. I mean, he's not picking out. He's probably lost his hand there. That could be a broken wrist for their goalkeeper. The power generated on that shot was absolutely crazy. And well, 5 minutes gone. We'll have another chance here, maybe. Jedvaj crosses it in. Polino. Havertz hits it. I mean, we've doubled it. Both centre mids with the goals. Polino with the assist. Who needs a centre attacking mid? We'll just go for long shots all game. What a start this has been, though. 2-0 up after 5 minutes against Hoffenheim. Jedvaj with the ball in. Havertz, little 1-2, give and go. Goes inside to Polino, who has space just to drag it back. And Havertz, first time again, tucks it away into that bottom corner. Lovely little finish by him. And I'll be honest, Havertz and indeed Julian Brandt, with the exception of the one game where he didn't really turn up, since they've signed their new contracts, just suddenly look reinvigorated to play for us. Well, after an absolutely crazy start to the game, that really did fizzle out into not a lot. Not a single highlight of note between the 5th minute when we scored and, well, half-time. But 2-0 up, I'm not going to complain one little bit. Looking at the stats, Hoffenheim not creating a lot. They've had 50% of the ball, but, well, you can see they've had 2 shots and none on target. We are limiting them significantly. Their team equally as tired as ours, which is a little bit of a relief. Jedvaj on a booking is a little bit of a cause for concern, but he is playing very, very well, as is Havertz. He's really been running the show since he got that opening assist. Anyway, Aranguiz picked up an injury here. I mean, we talked about the fact he's complaining about lack of first-team football. We're going to rotate him. Perhaps an opportunity to bring in Koa here. Koa, definitely a more defensively minded midfielder rather than kind of your standard centre mid. However, he can do a job for us, I think, as a box-to-box midfielder. Perhaps not expecting him to get one of the screamers that we've seen so far this game, but we'll see what he can do. As Aranguiz, I mean, he's carrying a knock. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to deny him the hat-trick, which I'm sorry for, but I don't want to aggravate whatever the injury is. But what a goal that is to go off. 3 absolute screamers. Havertz to Lars Bender. Goes to Aranguiz. Takes a touch. Gets it out of his feet. Top bins. 3-0. I feel a little bit sorry for the goalkeeper. I don't know if he could have done better there, but that goal was an absolute screamer. With that, though, we are going to sub him off. I'm sorry, Arangis, but that injury, whatever it is, I don't want to aggravate it because I need your long shots for the rest of this game. Right, 80th minute, Miguel Trocao to Koa. Trocao, can he get it in? Whips it, Volland, not quite there. Koa hits it. I mean, if he'd scored it, we would have had a party. We would have actually had a party. The centre mids are just shooting from anywhere right now. Trocao, free kick, goes on the roof of the net. It wasn't actually that close. 5 minutes left. I'm going to do some changes here, just a chance to maybe please some players who are complaining about lack of first-team football. We'll bring in Sukek here. We've got one more sub we can do. We'll bring in Ilario, who has complained about lack of first-team football. I don't think this is going to necessarily please him this much, kind of playing 5 minutes of a dead game. But we'll give him the time so he can't complain. 1.5 minutes left. Could we get a fourth just to seal it and kind of wrap this game in a bow? It would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Sven Bender to Havertz. Have a go. Have a go, my son. Lays it to Polino. Hits it, Brand. Brand again, maybe? Narrow angle tries to pull it across. Hacked away, clear. And, well, probably should have been another goal there, really. But I'm not going to complain too much. We are cruising in this game right now. 3-0 against Hoffenheim. A dream performance. I feel like in a lot of the live comms we've had so far, here in the Bundesliga at least, we've kind of scraped by the skin of our teeth. It's nice to have a game where we've absolutely dominated it. Hoffenheim certainly not looking like a team challenging for the Champions League, with the gulf in class between ourselves and them in this match. You can see they've done absolutely nothing all match. Jedvai, are you okay, Jedvai? What's happening? Who's this geezer? Oh, he's injured. Don't sit on the ball. He's sat on the ball. Oh my gosh. Look away, children. Is he okay? Treat him. I mean, I don't know what that guy the physio was doing hunched over there. Right, he's okay. He can take the throw in. I feel like he should probably go out of play after getting treatment on the pitch. But I'm not going to complain. 3-0 it finishes. Weird ending to the game. Never seen that before. Has anyone seen that before? I'm not sure what we just witnessed. But regardless, not going to complain. I'm hoping that's not a serious injury for Jedvai because we are a little bit flimsy and low on the fullback position. Right, Havertz out for 8 to 10 days. Not ideal, but we'll try and make it work. We're actually on top of the league with that. Arangi's tied to Achilles. We can deal with that. Looks like Jedvai's injury wasn't anything to be too worried about either. So yeah, we've apparently gone top here. You can see Bayern yet to play. I think Leipzig actually just lost. I guess we can have a look at the fixtures here. Were they playing against Dortmund? No, they were playing against Hertha Berlin. So a little bit of a surprise there. Bayern playing in their next game right now. So we'll go forward and see what they do in their match. It's the evening kickoff. We'll get home, put up our feet, watch the game and see what happens, I guess. They're taking on Freiburg, who gave us a bit of a run for our money. They're down in 10th. Can they do anything for us here? No, they can't. Bayern do go again top of the league, but we are still only 1 point behind them. And that 3-0 victory definitely does a little bit for our goal difference, which is slightly lagging behind right now after 10 games. Anyway, in terms of when we'll be back, guys, so you can see here we've got a few games coming up. We've got Leipzig not too far away. I think we will pass on that episode for now in terms of doing that game. We may well come back for the PSV game in the Europa League. That might be a game to determine our fates there. Other games we've got coming up, Schalke could be an interesting one. They are underperforming right now. Besides that, thankfully at least, a few easier games. I say easier loosely. Obviously, the Leipzig game not going to be an easy one. But beyond that, some somewhat kind of fixtures. So that PSV one might be an interesting one. If not, we may do the game against Frankfurt, who are doing pretty well up in 7th place. Anyway, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you felt and thoughts were on the kind of match just being cut down slightly. To be honest, this game compared to some of the matches we've had so far in this series didn't have that many highlights. So, yeah, let me know what you thought. Maybe we'll continue doing this. Maybe we'll change it slightly. I want to hear your feedback. And, of course, if you've got any feedback for my videos as a whole so far on this year's Football Manager, I'd love to hear that as well down in the comments too. Anyway, that's all from me. Smash the like button if you did enjoy. It does really help me out. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. It is me, Jack, and I'm out.